When you think of Shakespeare, your brain may go straight to the to be or not to be speech, which is commonly associated with the speech that Hamlet is depicted to be holding a skull. In fact, the skull is used in Act 5, Scene 1, when the fascinated prince discovers the skull of Yorick, a jester that he remembers when he was a child. The purpose of this video essay is to give my own interpretation of the to be or not to be speech, and investigate the mental health of poor Hamlet. For context, this is the original speech. To be or not to be, that is the question, whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing them to die, to sleep no more, and by a sleep to say we end the heartache and the thousand natural shocks that flesh is heir to. 'Tis a consummation devoutly to be wished, to die, to sleep to perchance a dream. There's the rub, for in that sleep that dreams may come, when we have shuffled off this mortal coil, must give us pause. There's the respect that makes calamity of so long life. For who would bear the whips and scorns of time, the oppressor's wrong, and the proud man's contumely, the pangs of deprised love, the law's delay, the insolence of office, and the spurns that patient merit of unworthy takes, when he himself might his quietest make with a bare bodkin? Who would fardels bear to grunt and to sweat under a weary life? But that dread of something after death, the undiscovered country, for those born no traveler returns, puzzles the will, and makes us rather bear those ills we have than fly to others that we know not of. Thus conscience does make cowards of us all, and thus the native hue of resolution is a sickled ore with the pale cast of thought, and enterprises of great pitch and moment, with this regard the currents turn awry and lose the name of their actions. Now, I will paraphrase the work. To exist or not to exist, that is the dilemma, whether it is manlier to suffer inside from the hand dealt to me by those above, or to fight the injustice and die an honorable man. To stop existing, cease to breathe, this ends the pain and suffering that I'm a puppet of. I wonder what the afterlife is. Is it as we've dreamed? Is it heaven? The shackles of being mortal will drop. Give us pause. There's respect for those who stand up against the opposition in life, against those who unfairly govern, against those whose love vanish. Slow justice. When the impatient worthies change the thread of time, who takes home victory? The one who's stressed of their sin? Will that dread take over when they die and go to the unseen world, where you cannot come back? It makes us hold on to our guilt instead of running to those unaware. Our thoughts will eat us alive. That is why when you think too much, the action is not done. In my interpretation, the soliloquy is about a contemplating Hamlet weighing the consequences of killing himself and fighting what he feels is wrong. He also talks about how overthinking things usually ends up with no action being done, meaning he should either kill himself. In my opinion, this is a very dark interpretation and talks about an all or nothing thinking style. At certain moments in the play, if Hamlet hadn't become an obstacle for the king, if it wasn't for Hamlet's reckless actions, killing Polonius and revealing himself against the king, Hamlet would have gone back to school like he had wanted. The point of this is that Hamlet did have other options. All or nothing thinking often comes from those with mental health problems. When we over-rely on cognitive distortions, we usually interpret events in such a way that fuels emotions such as anxiety, depression, or anger. All or nothing thinking is one such distortion. All or nothing thinking refers to thinking in extremes. You are either a success or a failure. This is relevant to our dear protagonist, Hamlet, because he's suffering from depression of some sort due to the loss of his father. This is evident by how he's eaten by grief at the start of the play, constantly being told to grow up, and the revelation that it was Hamlet's uncle that kills the king. These are all factors that brought Hamlet to a slow descent to insanity. We are told to believe that Hamlet is faking his insane behavior. However, I beg to differ because of the circumstances that Hamlet is put under. I believe that he believes his insanity is faked as an attempt to maintain control over his life.